This episode, we used a spirit box to communicate with ghosts. And here's what happened.
Right into this little box here. Test it out. Are you listening?
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard.
Join us as we venture into the darkest corners of the world. Prepare yourself for heart-pounding encounters, spine-tingling stories, and the unexplained. Join us if you have the courage. Welcome to the journey and to the unknown as we enter the most haunted places in the world. If you are interested in the paranormal investigation we did around Santa Barbara, you can check that out in our last episode over here. Let's jump into the tour with our guide, Rhea.
In like the early 1800s, so this is when the Spanish started to colonize. One of the last people to ever be hung was Ramon Lopez, and he killed his girlfriend. She was around 20 years old. He shot her and then attempted to shoot himself and was tackled. So they took him to jail and then they hung him.
We can't let you shoot yourself.
Yeah, but we're gonna murder you.
I think that's fair.
See, it's really gorgeous. It was actually built and rebuilt multiple times. It used to be an adobe store, just a little tiny store, into this. But as the city grew, as the gold rush came, more ships came in, they needed more space for all of their records, and they even built a jail here off to the side. There was a giant earthquake in 1925, and it destroyed like 85% of the buildings in this area and killed around 13 people. Unlike the earthquake in San Francisco that really messed everything up because there was a bunch of fires, an engineer turned off all of the gas for the city, and that's kind of what helped it not burn down. But there was a dam above the city, and it broke. Around 45 million gallons of water came down. So as you can see, this place is gorgeous. One cool thing about this place is all the ghosts and ghost stories are like officially documented over time. A woman kind of working in the records building claimed to have seen a stapler like fly across the room. And when people were alone in the area, they would just hear whispers and doors would move. And another woman was in another part of the building and she heard some big crack in a hallway, and they went to investigate, and the floor had completely like cracked in. And they were like, what the heck even happened? They eventually called a psychic into the place. She said really the main hallway that they use for transporting prisoners like throughout. So she saw Spanish guards and just like people in shackles like walking in and out. So maybe that energy like day in, day out could have done something like that. And she also described a woman to a T. She saw her, and her name was Pearl Chase, and she was a community activist, and she worked really hard to just preserve and make Santa Barbara beautiful. She's just seen around, and maybe she seems a little pensive. She just likes to look over things and make sure that things are okay. There's also a judge seen in one of the courtrooms they can just see him sometimes like sitting in his little judge chair. Another woman, Mildred Pinero, I believe was her name. She founded Casa Serena, or the Women and Children Safe House. So apparently she's seen kind of around just checking in on things as well. A security guard was walking over by the stairs of like where the jail would have been, and he saw a black figure, just kind of saying like, I didn't do it, over and over. This was a very popular place to jump off of and kill yourself. Back in the like later 1900s. This version of the courthouse passed on before you could ever really see the end. It's so creepy looking. Look at the little window.
Your thoughts so far?
It's cool. It's pretty.
I really like all the architecture.
I was gonna say the gloomy mood makes it.
Jay Thomas.
Jay Thomas.
That apparently was his name. I've never seen him in anything. He was met with some very weird happenings in the house. He moved in with his kids, and they were going to renovate it, flip it, and sell it. And his younger son started talking about an imaginary friend. And nobody else saw her. Nobody else had any idea. The older brother that he shared a room with had no idea. He was just completely freaked out by it. It happened so often, and things started to actually move around the house that they decided to call in a psychic because, back then, there was, psychics and spiritualism and all that occult stuff was very popular. Also found 2 rocks outside of the house, one of them with a date, and the other one actually wasn't a rock, turned out to be a human bone.
Oh.
For some reason, they put that into the fireplace of the house. And the psychic said that yes, it was a girl that was buried on the property, and that was her little gravestone. She also believed that the site was potentially on some kind of burial ground. Once he figured that out, he was like, I'm getting out of here, and they flipped it as fast as they could, and they moved. This here is El Presidio, which is like a big church. Really pretty inside.
Oh, wow.
And this is like a whole museum. It was the 4th Spanish fort built along the coast. It was like the early 1800s. It served as the county seat at the time, or like the main part of everything, and that went from like Los Angeles to San Luis Obispo. All of the higher ups and everybody would come to meet here and talk. There was cannons here, so you know, if somebody came and invaded, like this is probably where they would come. Across the street, that's where like the main head honcho guy would live.
The governor's mansion?
Yeah, the commandant would live. Yes. There's a story of an architect who was in here searching around, you know, just looking for artifacts, and nobody else was in the building, and he heard just like a little shuffle, shuffle, shuffle coming towards him. Once he turned around, it kept coming towards him, and it just went right through him, and he was like, what just happened? Along with that, there's people see like a little monk in his little robes walking around, as well as Spanish soldiers and a lot of natives. Most natives that you see are very unhappy because they were not treated very nicely on this property. Eventually, when there was Mexican ownership, they came over and took over from the Spanish. They were even worse to the natives. Also, which we will talk about later, a couple seen dancing here, and one of the parts of the couple, the woman, may or may not have a head. So,
but there is a little boy I keep seeing running around. I don't know who he's looking for. He's Spanish. I don't know who he's looking for, but he keeps like, he'll even tug on your...
yeah. Oh.
Okay, we're taking out a spirit box. What are your thoughts?
I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm kind of worried. I'm kind of nervous. I'm kind of excited.
Thoughts on the spirit box?
I'm ready. I'm excited.
Do you know what a spirit box is?
It lets you talk to spirits.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys ask questions.
why are you still here? Why are you staying here? Why are you moving on? Do they know they've died?
I don't know. Do you guys does somebody want to throw on some headphones? Okay, if there's anybody here, we have this little device, kind of weird, but we would like you to talk into it, and we're going to ask you a few questions.
I'm definitely picking up the radio.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I don't know. I don't hear anything. Does someone else want to try?
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Senorita. She's an older lady.
Oh, señorita.
It says, yeah. Or senor. Oh, sorry, senora. It's an older woman that wants to come talk to you. Oh, she likes your hair.
That's nice. Like I have to sit down.
Oh my God.
Oh, she was a little flower in her hair, Sophia. She's like, it's I don't speak good Spanish, but it's a fiesta. She's trying to, she wants to fix, she's right here, she wants to put flowers. Say yes, thank you. Gracias, senora.
Oh, I felt something on my head.
You did?
Oh, yeah. I think they want to fix her hair.
Oh, yeah, I feel a little bit too, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Ooh,
weird.
it's kind of...
Anyone want to try?
Okay.
You don't feel anything in your head?
Yeah.
You guys have to speak English, though. My Spanish is worse than your Spanish. Is there a party?
Is there some kind of party happening?
Can you talk a little clearer?
Can we come?
Am I invited?
Am I invited? Can we come to your party?
It's a valid question.
¿Dónde está la fiesta?
Is the fiesta
I can almost hear them, but not quite. So I can tell you what I'm hearing, but not in this. Like, night is coming, it's not safe, you guys should go home. Young girls aren't safe here, you should go home.
That's actually what we will talk about.
It took a long time to catch him. but they caught him.
Oh, like a
Oh,
murderer?
we can talk about, there was plenty of serial killers that came through this area. The Golden State Killer, Richard Ramirez even made his way through. The Zodiac Killer, some of his first victims were known to be here. Linda Edwards and Robert Domingos. And then Charles Manson.
Oh, they don't.
Charles Manson used to live here.
I'm sorry.
Some of his cult followers, and this was just a few years before the La Bianca and Tate murders, which where they killed 9 people. He was even arrested here in the area, not for murder charges, for like some random warrant, and his name is actually etched into the little jail at the courthouse in Ventura.
Like Gilmore or something? Why
Oh my. It's almost like if you say the person's name, we don't want to call their interview to the property. It's his belief. We don't want to talk about. We don't want to call them by name. If we call them by name, then they're going to come hang out, and they're trying to keep you in the scenery safe. The way you guys would be safe and not get hurt.
This one right here.
Okay.
Yeah. And we are headed to the oldest, I believe, operating theater. It's been a theater since it was built. Jose Lozero in the early 1800s, and he opened it as an opera house, and he performed there himself. And then once he died, new owners came in, and they had a lot of spiritualist performances. So they would have people, call upon the dead and do seances, something called spirit writing, or they would stick a slate under somebody's foot, and they would call upon, the spirits to come and write something. And sure enough, when people would move their foot, things would be written onto the slate.
Oh, wow.
And the ghost of the last spiritualist that was there said that he was enjoying the other side. Another man named Harry Piadella, who came here from Florida. Nobody knows when he came to Santa Barbara, but he spent a lot of his time here at the theater. He made his way up from being a janitor to being a night watchman, and he even eventually lived in one of the old dressing rooms. Someone else that ended up living there had somebody house sitting for them, and they said that they had seen an old man that matched the description of Harry. So he's known to hang out around just because he loves it here, and he's been here for a lot of his life. There's also known to be a portal in the basement. There's cold spots, and there's just a lot of energy that kind of goes around in there. And theaters are known to have a lot of residual energy just because of how much just passion and energy and people and different scenarios and things are going on. There's something called a ghost light that they keep on in the front of the stage to avoid people falling into the orchestra pit. You don't want to fall into that. That light is lit at all times because you don't want any kind of accident to happen. And the ghosts here are known to move that light around and just really mess with people. A journalist that came and stayed here, he wanted to catch some kind of paranormal activity, stayed the night, and eventually caught just things moving around, like the costumes and people even rehearsing lines, and just people walking up and down. Like you can see people just in the seats. The lobby of this theater, there's a giant golden eagle. That eagle came from a shipwreck where 40 out of 100 of the people on the ship died. Some kid found it on the beach, and he brought it home, and they traded it all over Santa Barbara, and Jose Lobero eventually got it for a bottle of whiskey. When they went to renovate the theater, they lost the eagle. Some family ended up having it on their ranch as their ranch gate sign. They painted it a different color. And the way it was found was some guy, because there was this whole search for it. Who doesn't want to find the golden eagle? And someone was said to have a dream that he was driving along this back road in the country. He did that drive, and there he saw the eagle. And the family learned what it was, and they were like, of course you guys can have it back. And they gave it back, and they restored it, and it's here now. Heard anything too negative about here other than Jose does not like rock concerts. He always messes with the audio equipment because, he's an opera guy. He's a classy guy, he's not into that rock and roll crazy stuff. Now, we're going to be getting into a different era, more towards the later mid-1800s. Okay. And this whole area here was actually a red light district. A red light district is kind of where a lot of crazy stuff was happening. There was a lot of ladies of the night and saloons and murders and debauchery. It actually got its name because the railroad workers would come to the houses, the brothels, and leave their red lights outside in case they needed to be found for any kind of emergency. This post office used to be a giant brothel. The woman that owned it, she owned many property from here all the way to like San Luis Obispo as well, and all up and down this street. And so she did get in trouble on occasion, occasionally was arrested, but she made great money, and especially here. There is a story of a man who got really drunk and he thought a girl took his money, and he was like, I'm coming back for you and all your people and I'm gonna kill you. So they called the cops, and the cops came, and just as they were about to leave, the guy came back and started banging on the door, and he was like, let me in, you know, I'm gonna kill you guys. He actually fired a shot through the door, and thankfully it hit nobody, and the cops didn't really know what to do. They ended up firing 2 shots through the door back. After that, there was no more yelling, and they opened the door, and just outside, they found him, you know, lying in a pool of his own blood. So there's all kinds of just ghost happenings here, just everything you could think of, doors opening, people whispering, talking, and a lot of people see women up top on that balcony, just beckoning people in, come on, you know. But there's no access to that balcony. Just around this corner too, there is a story, because this area, there was a lot of Chinese and Japanese immigrants. This was like their area. They had noodle houses, they ran laundromats, opium dens. That was a really popular thing here. And then, yeah, like I said, lots of brothels, and they made hooch, you know, like they ran all that kind of stuff. They even had tunnels going all underground to transport things like that. And there is a story of a little Chinese man who apparently hangs out over there near the palm trees. And if you're in a hurry, he said to maybe trip you. A lot of people tend to trip over there for no reason. 2 girls were in a hurry to get to the fiesta down here at the Santa Barbara State Street. They were just kind of being rude, and they saw this guy, this old man, walking in front of them, and they were like, you know, get out of the way, like we're trying to go. And she tripped, and she turned around to be like, you know, what the heck, you just tripped me, and he was gone. Wow. Nobody was even there. And there's also a tripping trickster at the courthouse that I didn't mention getting into the elevator. A lot of people just tend to trip on it. That sounds about right to me. Are there any ladies here? Hello?
Says they've been looking for a good time.
Yeah. Well, the woman that owned this place, she's kind of seen walking up and down the street as well. And just this whole area was sites of many murders and crazy things. And nobody's been documented dead here in this building.
Using an
everybody that
EMF?
has said that they felt like there is something bad.
Do you have one working too? We're working on an EMF too. Let's see.
I heard something.
I think they're frying.
Frying?
The EMF is getting higher.
It is getting higher, that's true.
I think I heard hello.
Hello?
Hello? Is anyone there? Well, obviously there's
Are you listening?
yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard listening.
Like, are you listening?
Trying.
What it sounded like. We're listening. We're trying to.
Help.
I heard help. Hope. I heard help.
So it sounds like there's a woman and a man.
Yeah.
Run?
Uh-oh, they're not talking to us. They went away.
To El Paseo and Casa La Guera. It's actually a little restaurant, and it used to be a little house. Many architects, hired and unhired, to build and work on this place, and eventually they built the Paseo, or like the archway. It used to be like the talk of the town. This is where all the celebrities would want to come and hang out. This is where, you know, you wanted to be. This is just the spot to be seen at. And back then, a dinner here was just $2. $2. All kinds of celebrities. Shirley Temple was even here before and visited. Everybody really liked to come here. But I'm going to talk about Judy Garland, because she filmed a movie here, and her sister sing La Cucaracha. Back in the day, this place was filled with even more flowers and plants and all kinds of stuff. Like this is kind of what it looks like now. And Judy Garland is actually one of the ghosts seen here because she's known to have a really tragic end of life. She did a lot of drugs and died in a really sad way. And so this was somewhere that she was happy to be at. Along with this, there is a woman in black seen here, Jose de la Guerra. He built over here and he lived here as well. And I don't know if it was maybe his wife or somebody else, but she maybe lost her kids. And she's known to be nice and sweet coming up. If she sees your kids or she sees some kind of child, like she's known to reach out and try and get you.
You're not little.
Yeah. Definitely a very common spirit that I know is seen in many places. Like a woman in black is also like the woman in white. And they both have a very common thing of kind of looking for their children. Like, I don't know if you know who La Llorona is.
If you guys are interested in La Llorona, then you can check out the episode from Santa Fe, New Mexico, in which we talk about La Llorona's
Except
story.
she's crying, and this woman is not crying. She's just crazy. Sorry, lady. Please don't come home with me. This is Elena Adobe. So the Elena family lived here. The man who moved into here married a woman that has the longest name in the world. I cannot fully remember, but it was like Maria de Altagracia, Antonia de la Guerra, Latayade or something like that. She had 3 kids from a previous marriage, and when they got married, they had 9 more kids. So when they moved here, they needed to expand. So he built that second story himself, and their family lived here. They were a Mexican family. They were very tight-knit. And when their oldest daughter passed away, she was probably like in her 20s, and she passed away in the house from a really painful brain tumor. Also had their older son pass away here, and then years later, they were passed away because they had so many kids, you know. One of their younger sons got sick and passed away here as well. One of Maria's children from the previous marriage, his name was Carlos. It was Carlos Cesario and Maria's daughter Maria, so they're both named Maria. But Carlos started to kind of slink around and get a little shady, and he was trying to get his hands on that inheritance, but Mr. La Guerra did not appreciate that, and he was like, you are out of my will, and he did that right before he died. So Carlos is seen in here just very angry, and he's got a very angry energy about him. This is our last stop, and it is the little city hall. It used to be a pilot house where all the navigation equipment and like steering stuff was held on a ship. So for one of those to just be sitting here was really weird. And like I said, this was kind of the red light district. It wasn't a good neighborhood. So Richard Velasquez and his wife, I think it was Estefania, lived here together, and they got into an argument one night, and he apparently cut her head off. So he was an Italian immigrant, so he didn't speak very good English. And so he went into the police station and he said that he needed somewhere to sleep because his wife was dead, or he had murdered his wife. And they were like, can't sleep here, like we need to go investigate this. And so they did, and they found her head lying next to her on the table. He had set it up on the table, and he had done it with a shoe knife, a cobbler knife, because he was a shoemaker. They obviously were like, okay, we're gonna arrest you. And when he realized that that's what they wanted to do, he was like, I didn't kill her. I didn't do that. What are you talking about? Like, I'm just kidding. I didn't do that. Like, no. So yeah, they took him to jail, and he actually ended up dying very soon after he was in prison. This is the couple that is seen dancing over at El Presidio.
Do you really think she wants to dance with him?
And I don't think so. I don't think so.
Really? No.
Yeah, you know, I was told that they were seen reconnecting, and I'm like, I don't think so. After that, nobody wanted to live here because,
either.
you know, everybody knew that some girl got her head cut off. And so they had outgrown the city hall because just like the courthouse and everything, the town kept building and building and building. They had this built. They bought this place. They were like, this is perfect. And they built it up.
You want to try to talk to her and see if she dances with him or not?
Yeah, we could totally do some more spirit boxes.
We're crying.
We're getting
Because Mr. Richard. Richard!
Is it changing?
Not yet, no.
Anybody want to talk to us over here? We got this beautiful box.
Get out the pendulum.
That one lasted so long.
Yo, what's her name?
Maybe it was Stefania? Estefania? Or... Yeah.
Estefania. Hey, Grandpa. Dead. I heard dead.
I heard that.
Is someone dead?
Are you dead?
You know you're dead.
Yeah.
I think people are inside the home still.
Inside?
Are you like trapped in there? Or are you just chilling in there?
You can talk right into this little box here. I know it sounds weird. Test it out. Listen.
Are you still here?
Are you in that little window up there?
Yeah, somebody keeps waving from out the window.
Hi.
I don't know who
I
it is.
am up here. That's what it sounded
Yeah.
like.
Hi. I'm gonna cry.
That's why I think it's not picking up on the EMF,
I'm
right?
really
'Cause
gonna-
Oh, because too far.
Can you come outside? Somebody else want to hold this? Because I'm getting dizzy. I'm just gonna
Oh.
stand here.
The EMF went up a little bit more.
Oh, it is.
Oh, this one's going up.
Oh, is it coming out here?
Maybe.
Are you coming out to us?
It keeps going up and then down and then up and then down.
I heard yeah.
Yeah.
try to come back, something.
Get off of me. You don't know. I don't like how you're making me feel.
Is Richard still here?
Are you Richard?
I swear, if you're Richard, I won't be near you. I feel like I heard it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not about criminal.
Craziness.
You are crazy. You cut your wife's head off.
I know you are a little crazy. Never know.
The red light district was over here, right?
Yes. This
So are these, are we talking to the women
the
that
ladies
were-
of the night?
that are ladies of the night?
There was people who would, die smoking opium.
So it might be more than one person trying to talk to us over
Oh,
here.
it went up to 50
area
for a
that
quick
is
sec.
full of energy. It's this entire district.
Tell us how you died.
Murdered?
Murdered. I was about to ask murdered.
Can you tell me a name?
Oh,
That was interesting.
I don't know. I heard like a piano play. June? Were you murdered in June?
It is June right now.
I feel like I heard scissor.
It's the EMF's definitely higher over here, though.
Here also, this is haunted. This is one of an original Chinatown building. You can even see it was Jimmy's Oriental Gardens. You can actually have pickle martinis here. They make pickle drinks, and that's kind of their whole spiel. Delicious. And if you sit, if any man sits towards the end of the bar, men are known to have a very relaxed feeling, and almost so much that one man even fell over. He just felt so good. He fell off his chair, and he was so embarrassed. So he went outside and he saw a woman, and she was like a very cute, maybe skimpy dressed Chinese woman, and she was just kind of being very sultry and like, oh, it's okay, baby, what's up? And as she got closer, and he was like, hey girl, she disappeared. It was also a really popular place to hang out and eat back in the day too. People loved to party there. They would have just parties and dance and just have all kinds of good times. So thankfully nothing negative. A customer at my work who used to live over at Isla Vista, him and his friends would go and hang out, and they would wait at the beach because apparently there was a hatchet man who would go and kill people laying on the beach, which I did read about, and I did kind of find a little story about a guy doing that in the area. The Black Dahlia also used to live in the area. Elizabeth Short was her name, and I don't know if you know her story, but she was found like chopped up kind of in bushes in Hollywood. She was just randomly found. It's a really weird story though, but she used to live over on Montecito Street for a little bit.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. If you haven't already, make sure to watch our paranormal investigation we did around some of the most haunted sites in Santa Barbara.
You here with us right now?
Oh, it went up as soon as I did.
Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Don't be afraid of the dark.